Welcome into another Grizzlies Spotlight powered by Amtrak. As always, Sam Levitt with you. And this week I'm joined by a very special guest, the voice that emanates around GCS Ballpark on game days, Tom Calhoun, in year number 12 as the public address announcer here at GCS Ballpark. Tom, how has the 2014 season been so far?
Sam, it's been great. Enjoyed it, especially the All-Star game and all the festivities around the All-Star game. Coming to the ballpark is always a great thing for me. I mean, it's almost difficult to convince people that it's work. And so, yeah, it's been great. I've enjoyed it.
Most of you around the St. Louis area know Tom's voice from his other job. He is the longtime public address announcer for the St. Louis Blues at the Scott Trade Center. Tom, you are on an unbelievable streak with the Blues. Over 1,200 straight games, straight home games with the St. Louis Blues, dating back to 1987. Mr. Calhoun, how do you do it?
Well, I've been really lucky. Truthfully, I've been fortunate that I've been healthy for one thing, and I really haven't had all that many important family matters interfere with me being at Scott Trade. We started off at the arena back in '87, and there's been a few nights where I probably shouldn't have gone to work because I didn't feel quite right. I had a little flu bug or something like that. But once I was about 400 or 500 games into the streak, I thought, we ought to try to keep this going. And it's been, again, I've been really lucky that I've been that healthy.
I want to take you back to January 3rd, 1987. You were a younger man, I'm sure a very handsome man. Your first day of work with the St. Louis Blues. Could you have ever imagined that almost 3 decades later you would have this streak and still be working with the Blues?
Never thought of it, mostly because I never considered PA announcing as something that I really aspired to do as a young guy. I wanted to be a baseball play-by-play guy, kind of like Sam Levitt and Adam Young and people like that. And I have done some of that over my career in radio, so I can't say that I haven't done it. But I didn't aspire to public address announcing until somebody asked me to do it. And I did it for the Blues and more or less as a favor that first year, and found that I enjoyed it and enjoyed being that close to the game and involved in the action. So the bottom line answer is no, I never would have envisioned doing it this long.
You said it. You are close to the game at the Blues games. You sit next to the ice between the penalty boxes, so I'm sure you have plenty of great stories, plenty of great memories from your times at games. What's the number one memory with the Blues?
Oh, gosh. I can't say there's a Stanley Cup obviously involved there, unfortunately. Maybe one day. But, there's a top 2 or 3. I always tell the story about being involved in the big melee between the Red Wings and the Blues, where there was a fight on the ice involving the goalies, Curtis Joseph and Tim Chevelday, took off the equipment and started going at it. And Bob Probert was the first guy put in the penalty box. He was the big enforcer for the Red Wings at the time. And he started going up over the glass after one of the fans who was calling him names. And for some reason, I thought it was a good idea to reach up and grab him and try to pull him back into the penalty box. Wasn't a good idea. He looked at me. He's like, "What do you think you're doing?" So I obviously let him go. That's one of my favorite moments. Introducing Wayne Gretzky for the first time at a Blues game was really big. That's the only time I think I was really nervous before an announcement was when Gretzky played his first game in the Blue Note. There are quite a few others, but I know you don't have that much time.
Tom Calhoun, the public address voice here at GCS Ballpark, joining us this week on Grizzlies Spotlight, powered by Amtrak. I know you're not pulling any players down or anything like that here at GCS Ballpark. You've been here since 2003. That is a very long time. What's your number one memory here with the Grizzlies?
Well, unfortunately, it's in the very first year that I did it. That was the year that the Grizzlies won the Frontier League Championship, and we took a bus full of people from the front office and game day operations over to Evansville to watch the championship game, and we all cheered our heads off, had a great time, and it's the only time in my PA announcing career I've been able to celebrate a championship. The Blues haven't done it. The Grizzlies have done it. We're looking for another Grizzlies championship, obviously, this year, but that's got to be it.
Tom Calhoun, the longtime voice of the St. Louis Blues, public address announcer, joining us here on this week's Grizzlies Spotlight. Tom, I'll finish on this. You do public address announcing for baseball, for hockey. What's the difference in the way you prepare for your job every night, the way you call the action, call the different games every night between baseball and hockey?
Well, preparation-wise, it's not a whole lot different, truthfully. You have to make sure you know all the players, how they like to have their names pronounced, especially new people that you haven't seen before, because for instance, Dustin Byfuglien, when he first came along in hockey, you look at that name and it's Byfuglien if you pronounce it the way it's spelled, but of course he likes to have it pronounced Byfuglien. So pronunciations are a big thing. Getting it right in front of 20,000 people is essential, so you prepare that way. In baseball, I keep a scorebook. I like to keep into the game, keep my head in the game. Hockey, you don't need to do that. I keep a little score sheet of who scored and who's got penalties and so forth. So, that kind of preparation is a little bit different, but really big-time sports like the Grizzlies and the Blues, your preparation as a PA announcer is pretty similar, actually.
Before we let you go and get on the mic here at GCS Ballpark, I'm going to ask you one thing. What's your favorite call in your career, and can you do it for us right now?
Well, people always ask me to do the Keith Tkachuk goal announcement. When Tkachuk came to the Blues, he had one of those names that you can really just have fun with. And I went into the locker room, I said, Walt, which is, of course, is his nickname, would you mind if I have fun with announcing your name when you score? He said, oh, no, do whatever you want. You've been doing this a long time. So the very first night, he scored, and I said, Blues goal scored by number 7, Keith Tkachuk, and had fun with it that way. And I got called in the boss's office after the game. I thought, uh-oh, what did I do now? And they said, don't ever change that. That's just perfect. Do it that way all the time. So that's kind of been my favorite one.
How the legendary call was created and repeated time after time. Tom Calhoun, the longtime PA voice of the St. Louis Blues, also here with the Gateway Grizzlies. Tom, thanks so much.
Sam, I'm looking forward to your career down the line. I'll be happy to watch you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, sir. That'll do it for this week's Grizzlies Spotlight, powered by Amtrak. We'll see you next week.